How many hours have you spent talking about the person you want to become, instead of actually becoming them? We live in an age of endless discussion, endless planning, endless debate about the right way to live, the right choices to make, the right person to be. We join forums, read books, watch videos like this one, all while the very thing we seek remains perpetually just out of reach. But nearly 2,000 years ago, a man who had every reason to debate and deliberate chose action instead. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a philosopher tucked away in some ivory tower. He was the most powerful man in the world, ruling the Roman Empire at its absolute peak. Every day brought decisions that affected millions of lives. Wars to wage, plagues to manage, senators to navigate, and betrayals to survive. And yet, in the quiet moments between ruling an empire, he wrote to himself. Personal reflections that were never meant for anyone else. Thoughts that would later become one of history's most profound works, the Meditations. In one of those private moments, frustrated perhaps by his own tendency to overthink, he wrote these words that cut like a sword through centuries of human hesitation. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. 8 simple words. But they carry the weight of truth that most of us spend our entire lives avoiding. Think about what Marcus was facing when he wrote this. The Antonine Plague was devastating his empire, killing millions. Germanic tribes were constantly threatening Rome's borders. His own son Commodus was showing signs of the cruelty that would later earn him a place among history's worst emperors. The weight of the world, literally, was on his shoulders. He could have spent every waking moment debating the perfect response to each crisis, consulting philosophers, holding endless council meetings, seeking divine guidance through elaborate rituals. Instead, he chose to act. But here's what makes this quote so powerful for us today. Marcus wasn't writing about grand, empire-changing decisions. He was writing about the fundamental choice we all face every single day, the choice between thinking about who we want to be and actually being that person. We've turned self-improvement into a spectator sport. We consume content about productivity, but never implement the systems. We read about courage, but avoid the difficult conversations. We study wisdom, but make the same foolish choices. We've become experts at discussing our potential, while remaining amateurs at living it. Consider Sarah, scrolling through LinkedIn at midnight, reading another article about work-life balance while her family sleeps upstairs. She knows exactly what she should do. Spend less time on her phone, more time present with her children. But instead of closing the app, she bookmarks the article for later and keeps scrolling. Or think about David, who spent 3 years researching the perfect business plan. He's read every startup book, joined every entrepreneur group, attended every webinar. His friends are tired of hearing about his amazing business idea, but the business remains exactly where it was 3 years ago, in his head. This is the modern trap Marcus Aurelius saw coming from 2 millennia away. We've confused knowledge with wisdom and planning with progress. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. Character isn't built in your head. It's built in your actions. Every single day, every single choice, every single moment, when you decide whether to be the person you claim you want to be, or just someone who talks about wanting to be that person. Marcus knew this better than anyone. When plague struck Rome, he didn't convene a committee to debate the philosophical implications of suffering. He organized relief efforts. When barbarians threatened the frontier, he didn't write treatises on the nature of conflict. He mounted his horse and rode to the front lines. But the real genius of this quote lies in its simplicity. Marcus isn't asking you to conquer an empire or lead armies. He's asking you to stop arguing with yourself and start being yourself. Right now, as you listen to this, you know exactly who you want to be. You know the habits you want to build. You know the relationships you want to repair. You know the risks you need to take. You know the person you see in your best moments, when nobody else is watching. That person doesn't need more research. They don't need more validation. They don't need perfect conditions or ideal timing. They need you to stop talking and start doing. The beautiful paradox of Marcus Aurelius is that he became one of history's greatest philosophers, precisely because he refused to just be a philosopher. He insisted on being a human being first, a man of action who happened to think deeply about what those actions meant. Here's how you can follow his example. Starting today. First, identify one behavior gap. This is the space between who you say you are and what you actually do. Maybe you say you value health but haven't exercised in months. Maybe you claim to value family but work 70 hours a week. Maybe you talk about integrity but tell small lies for convenience. Pick one gap, just one, and close it today. Second, implement the 5-minute rule. When you catch yourself researching, planning, or discussing something you could simply do, give yourself 5 minutes to take the first action step. Don't overthink it, don't perfect it, just do something, anything, that moves you from thinking to being. Third, practice identity-based decisions. Before every choice, ask yourself, what would the person I want to be do right now? Then do that thing. Not because it's perfect, not because you feel ready, but because that's who you're choosing to be. The person you admire most, they didn't become that way by accident. They became that way by repeatedly choosing to act like the person they wanted to become, long before they felt like that person. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that life is short, and the gap between intention and action is where dreams go to die. Every moment you spend debating who you should be is a moment you could have spent being that person. So here's the question I'll leave you with. The question Marcus might ask if he could speak to you directly. What are you waiting for? The permission will never come. The perfect moment will never arrive. The conditions will never be ideal. But the person you want to be, they're available right now. They're waiting for you to stop talking about them and start living as them. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and consider subscribing for more ancient wisdom that actually works in the modern world. Because the Stoics weren't just thinkers, they were doers. And in a world full of endless talk, maybe it's time we followed their example.